Okay, guess what? Guess who's back in the building? Yes, indeed, I am back. Wanted to say thank you to everybody. A few people did reach out and ask me, when am I going to do a live broadcast again because it's been a little while. Well, for those who have seen a few messages that I left, I was actually on the road working some basketball tournaments, some travel team tournaments over the course of the summer in four different states. So it didn't give me really an opportunity to do the lives that I wanted to do. But what it did is give me an opportunity to gain some content because we all know that just like comedians say, they get content from their interactions with people. And so I am getting content from the interactions with my people. So what is this? This is House Calls with your man, Dr. Rory T. Edwards. And I'm feeling good about today's topic because I think it's going to lead to some greater topics that I think is very, very important for us to begin to look at as we move forward with the innovation of technology and the innovation of things that are about to happen. So today's topic, do we find more power in our words, in our actions, or in our relationship slash social media presence? And the reason I want to bring that up is because I want to talk about an incident that occurred at a tournament while I was working. And there was a young lady who did come up and she wanted me to give her an explanation on bad calls by the officials in the game. And so I asked her three things. I said, ma'am, how did you come here? Did you come here as a parent? Did you come here as an official? Or did you come as a coach? And she said, I came in the capacity of a parent. I said, that's great to know. I said, well, let me ask you a second question, a follow up question. Have you ever taken an officiating class? Have you ever officiated a game? Or how well do you know how calls are made in a game? And she says, no to all of them. I said, so my question would be, how do you know if the calls were bad or if the calls were good if you really have no base knowledge of them? And she says, well, because I just know they're bad. And so why do I say that? I say that because she wasn't satisfied with the answer, that she had no knowledge in the officiating process, but she just knew that the officiating was bad. And so, as I tried to give her a little bit more detail into what it takes to be an official, from a very, very minimal place in my knowledge base, she then went on to say, well, if I don't get the answer that I want, I have 10,000 followers on social media, and I will post a negative message about you all's organization. And so from that, I followed up with saying, well, how many of those 10,000 followers that you have are here at the tournament? How many will be affected by the message that you are sharing that will affect this tournament? And she refused to give me an answer then because I guess now she felt she was in a bind. But I explained to her that there's one thing that I want you to really understand, and this is what my message is really trying to get across today, is that we've created a society after the pandemic that has developed a different type of person. It gave us an opportunity, some people, to sit at home, to get behind a computer, to become bullies behind the computer. Some people who never had a voice were given a voice because they were confined. They didn't have to confront people. They could become an alter ego. They can release their alter ego. They could become something that they never dreamed of or that they did dream of but didn't have the courage or the confidence to release. It also created a person who felt entitled, who felt that I can say whatever I want to say to anyone and not feel that I am insulting them. What is that called psychologically? It's called emotionally indifferent, or you can say you're developing emotionally calluses. And why would I say that? Because people have come out of this particular time period in our life now, and people believe that they can say to people anything they want to say. One thing that I have discovered over the time is that people now have very, very thin skin. I think as generations evolved, skin has become very, very thin, and people do not take constructive criticism well. People take everything out of content because everybody believes that somebody who says something back to you, it's really not rhetorical. What it is an insult, it's an attack on my intellectual level. Well, there's a few things that I was told early on in my life is that wisdom is through life. Intelligence can come through study, but being able to understand what the person is saying is not really about what the person is saying. It's about where you are in your place of understanding and comprehension when it's being delivered. So a lot of people want to run around and they want to talk to people and they want to tell people that my voice is very powerful. But it depends on who your voice is powerful with. If it's with those 10,000 followers that this lady explained to me, you have to ask yourself a few questions. How many of those followers are really friends of yours? How many of those followers really believe that you're an influencer? How many of those followers are you not aware of that were probably AI generated? And we're going to talk about that a little later. That's going to be another part of one of my shows, the AI generated future that we are now getting involved in. We have to understand that sometimes our words are not actually our words, but they're our feelings. They're driven by our emotions. They're driven by how we woke up in the morning. It's driven by our interactions with who we were in touch with in the beginning of the day. They're driven by where I am in my own self-reliance, in my own self-confidence, in my own self-dignity, and how I promote myself before I even get up in the morning and say anything to anyone. It's how I wake up. It's what I do in my rituals, daily rituals, that give me the foundation to go out and be the amazing person that I'm supposed to be. Those are what dictate your words, not the fact that because you have a voice that everybody's supposed to believe that your voice is the authority. Your voice is not the authority. Your voice is only the authority of those who believe that you have some value in your words. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this again because I want to go back to the title. Do we believe we have power in our words? Do we believe we have powers in our actions? Or do we believe we have powers in our relationships and our social media presence? So many people that I've seen are leading with their social media presence. I want to ask you a question. How many of you have ever been in the car or on the phone and you're driving and you're having a conversation and you speak about something and you mention it, and 24 hours later you open up your email and there goes an advertisement for that particular thing that you were talking about, and you're like, how did anybody realize that I was talking about this? We don't realize how much we are being listened to, how much we are being followed, how much we are being monitored in this world. And what we do believe is that we sometimes have private conversations, but there is no such thing as a private conversation any longer. There's only things that can get you put into a certain segment. We look at social media posts. How many times does someone put up a very positive post? And how many times does someone put up something negative, and the negative thing gets 1 million views and the positive things get 3 views? The reason why is because they are developing a culture that is leading towards independency of something in the future. They are no longer making you the independent thinker that you are supposed to be. They are making you rely on another source of your emotional intelligence, your intellectual intelligence, and your learned intelligence, which will then affect your wisdom. And so, if I was to end this conversation right now, which I think I'm going to do shortly, I would lead and defer towards the second one, the power in your actions. How many people out there believe that their actions are more powerful than their words could ever be, and are definitely more powerful than your social media presence? Yeah, I know there's people out there with 1 million viewers or followers or 2 million followers, and they claim to themselves to be an influencer. But look at who you're influencing and what you're using as your platform to be an influencer. What changes are you making? What actions are you putting behind those words that you believe are supposed to be formidable information that gets people to do better in life? If you're not putting your words behind actions that get people to do better, then you're only blowing smoke. That's all you're doing. You're blowing smoke. So I want to tell people that this is about the situation that I had. And that wasn't the only situation that I had who people questioned the process because they felt that their words were more important than the process. And you have to find out and you have to ask yourself, what is the reason for people believing that when they speak, that everybody's supposed to stop and listen? The world is changing, individuals. The world is changing, and the world's going to go into a different place. And that if you don't put action behind what you believe you're capable of, of doing, of providing, of implying, all of those particular things that will change the lives of those who you influence, then all you're doing is, all you're doing is blowing smoke. You know, I had some other adjectives that I wanted to say, but I want to be professional in these house calls as we move forward, because I'm so very glad to see that, people still believe that I have a message of value, and I believe that we do. And we want to change people's perspective on what they think and how they think and what they say before or after they think. I think everybody needs to take a moment before you respond to any type of interaction that you have, because sometimes you have to assess the whole situation. You never know why the person's asking. You never know what the person's looking for, and you can't test the thickness of people's skin anymore, because everybody feels that they are being attacked. And so when you tell somebody about something that is the obvious, they will look for excuses not to identify that the obvious is and could be a situation that could be detrimental to their growth. But in the meantime, in between time, I want to thank you all for joining me today as I enter back into this world of house calls. I'm so very happy. I want to thank my man, Gregory Sneed, for joining me, and also my guy, Ricky Long, two gentlemen in two different parts of the country who chose to join me today. So I thank you for joining House Calls with Dr. Rory T. Edwards. And we will be continuing on this mission as we try to share information that will help people to become better in their quest to fulfill their purpose in life. So until we talk again, or until things are profitable and are being blessed for your journey, I want to just say thank you again, and we'll talk soon. So until we talk again, Ashe.